Hey guys, and welcome back to Don't Open That Door. I am the scaredy cat, Justin.
Oh.
I'm the masked menace, Nico.
And I'm a were-giraffe, Dan.
You
And
did it.
probably couldn't tell too much from what Dan just said, but we're actually here to review Scooby Doo on Zombie Island. That's right, that classic film.
Jinkies.
So
Zoinks.
this is from way back in the yesteryears, Nico, those ancient days, if you
those,
will.
those ancient days, yes indeed. Of
Of
1998.
You're goddamn right, 1998. What a year that was. I think I might have gotten a game that was released in 1998.
Oh, yeah?
Possibly a little RC car. Does RC stand for race car, race car? Either way, this movie was directed by
Like ATM machine?
It was directed by Jim Stenstrum. We've got Frank Welker as Fred, Mary Kay Bergman as Daphne, BJ Ward as Velma, Billy West as Shaggy, and Scott Inez as Scooby Doo. So this movie opens with Scooby and the gang, in their classic getup that we know from the old show. And they're solving, yet another mystery. And, kind of as always, the villain was just another person trying to get away with insurance fraud, Donald Trump or something else like that, So I don't really know. It's just a guy in a mask, basically. And he blamed all his problems on the younger generation, AKA those meddling kids. So the gang ends up afterwards, they end up splitting up because, maybe they're tired of this bullshit with always having this just a guy in a mask.
Yeah.
We never actually find any real ghosts.
Fuck this show.
So
No OSHA regulations or anything.
I know, they always just leave.
Zero benefits
Probably, they were independent contractors and they were just getting fucked.
for themselves.
Who pays them to be there?
That's the thing. They were all independent contractors and they were hoping that their contracts weren't ironclad, dude.
You know Shaggy got paid in pot and food. Just straight up.
There were so many
Yeah.
violations.
There were so many violations.
So, some time passes and everyone's kind of doing their own thing. Velma's running a mystery bookstore. Scooby and Shaggy are somehow customs agents. They're trying to catch contraband and food. And Fred and Daphne, unsurprisingly, chose to split up together. Haha, get that joke? So Daphne's a reporter and Fred is her cameraman. And so she's on this talk show and she basically announces that, for the new season of her show, she's going to be doing a tour of the USA looking for real ghosts. So Fred, has a quick idea and he reassembles the gang for, another trip without Daphne knowing, which I guess could have possibly proved ruinous to her overall plot and storyline. But luckily it didn't. So, the gang gets reunited and they go looking for ghosts. So Dan, what follows?
So there's a sort of a montage of them going around Louisiana trying to find ghosts, and they're always fake. Then one day they're at some market and they run into this girl named Lena. She claims that she works at a haunted house on Moonscar Island. Whoa. So they end up going there, and it's a former pepper plantation, which is now owned by Simone Lenoir and tended to by Beau, who is the gardener.
And doesn't have a last name.
No,
No,
he's
he's
just Beau.
He's just Beau.
So when they get there, some ghosty kind of stuff starts happening, like writing on the wall, just random kind of haunting kind of things like that. And Daphne starts to get excited because we're seeing more hauntings and is trying to capture everything on film and everything.
So Nico, what follows after that?
So naturally, we've got a little bit of a sort of side plot happening with Shaggy and Scooby going off on their own, mostly in search of food, but they do fall into a hole and run into a real pirate zombie. Through the power of fear, though, they are able to climb out of the hole and they relate their story to the gang. Simone Lenoir invites them to stay the night, and later that night, Shaggy and Scooby take the mystery machine out to have a quiet dinner when they run into a bunch of real zombies. Actual real zombies. Real Zombies, the show from
There you go.
Nickelodeon.
Real monsters.
Crap, you got it, yep.
Wow.
The rest of the gang goes out to find them. I'm not a real 90s kid. I'm a liar. And they all run into a bunch of zombies at that point. So Velma, Fred, and Daphne, and Beau, who doesn't have a last name, all link back up at the house where Lena says that Mrs. Lenoir was dragged off by zombies. They follow her into an altar room, that's Altar, where it turns out that Miss was fine, but Velma takes this time to say that she knew Lenoir was fine the entire time. Gee, thanks. And Simone and Lena reveal themselves to be cats? Cat creatures? Cat people? Strange. They worship cat gods and were living on the island peacefully when Morgan, Moonscar, and basically just fuck their shit up. Only Lena and Simone survive, so they pray to the god of Friskies and Meow Mix, and then they became cat, and they killed off pirates.
So Dan, after they kind of, became cat, what happened afterwards?
So after that, turns out that every harvest moon, in order to stay alive, they need to drain the blood of, I don't know, people, innocents, maybe, I don't know, but some sort of people. So they have to accumulate or drain enough blood and drink it to
Is
stay
it blood?
alive.
Or is it like life force?
Well, I guess they call it life force, but I just assumed it was blood.
Of all the bodily fluids.
I mean, blood is your life force. I mean, right?
Is it? I feel like they drain their chi.
All right, Jackie Chan, goddamn.
What a crossover that would be.
Oh shit! Yo, Jackie Chan from Jackie Chan Adventures.
Yo, that'd be dope as hell.
Yo, he would have used the ox talisman and beat the fuck out of the cat creatures.
Umo fight white Heidi's out. Jinkies.
Yo, and Uncle would have come through and counterspelled him. Yo,
Yo,
they would have fucked that whole
been
shit
game
up.
over.
Anyhow, carry on. Dan,
So
sorry.
anyways, turns out it's the harvest moon right now. So these cat are planning on draining their life force. It turns out that the zombies actually were not bad people. They were the zombies of people who had been drained and killed in the past, trying to warn the squad of what was going on. So the squad kind of gets captured and is about to be drained of their life force. Well, Fred, Daphne, and Velma and Bo actually are the ones who get captured. So then Shaggy and Scooby are out running away from some zombies that they don't know are good yet. And they kind of bumble into the little cave that they're in and stumble on and initiate some hijinks and end up saving the rest of the crew. So then by the time the harvest moon passes, Cat has not gotten enough life force yet. So they end up actually just withering and just dying. And it's actually kind of creepy.
Yeah.
It is. And the movie does kind of close with, the revelation that Bo was in fact with the FBI. I guess the FBI was looking into all those people who had gone missing every harvest moon, which we've done a lot of detailed research and can't find conclusive evidence. NASA, space, and Wikipedia, all three sources of equal importance, are all saying different things. So
we look to the stars for this, dear listeners.
The point is, Bo was with the Harvest Moon Investigations Department.
To the great fucking beyond for you.
And yeah, so whenever, I guess it was enough people disappeared for Bo to investigate, and he really wasn't doing shit until Scooby and the gang came through.
Can we get Bo on the force now? I mean, goddamn, we got a whole ton of people disappearing. This just got too real. I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ. So Bo, gang, it's over. And Scooby just grabbed some hot peppers for the road. We'd also like to take a quick moment to just go ahead and lay down that Don't Open That Door officially does not agree with what some of these zombies may have done in real life. In short, fuck the Confederacy. So moving on to the visuals and audio. Let's go ahead and talk up the visuals first. So, I mean, Dan, let's turn back the clock here to 1998. I mean, you're a kid and Scooby Doo on Zombie Island comes out. I mean, how does this look? Particularly when you know what we grew up on. We grew up on that old school Scooby Doo, right? The one from way before we were born. So how does this look, especially through that lens?
I mean, I thought it looked pretty good. Even now, I think it looks pretty good.
Goddamn right.
One thing I like about some of the 90s cartoons, and maybe it's just my nostalgia, but I feel like a lot of cartoons now do too much to be cartoony. And they're some of them are just look weird to me. And Scooby Doo, especially this one, just looks good. it's not like too cartoony and it's not too just like weird people shapes and stuff. Like it,
Proportions are more real.
yeah, like and it just looks good. And to me, it kind of gives it like almost a timeless quality to it. And again, I know that might be my nostalgia talking, and I just like that. But I feel like even 20 years from now, it's still going to look kind of good, you know?
So one thing that I have to say about the visuals. So the visuals for this were they were handled by a Japanese animation studio known
That
as
explains a lot.
Mook Animation. And basically, now what's cool about this studio is they've done a lot of work that you guys might remember. So you guys remember SWAT Cats?
Hell yeah.
Yo, hell yeah.
Good show.
Yeah. That was a good fucking show. Another cat-related show.
Underrated.
It is. It absolutely is. So
Fucking, did they do Street Sharks?
I'm not sure. I'm not certain. They did a fuck ton of shows though, dude. They did do Street Sharks. You're right, Nico. They did.
Fucking awesome.
Well done. They also did Mummies Alive. I don't know if you remember that.
Yo, that show was
I never really got
lit.
into that one.
That and the Gargoyles joint?
Gargoyles was
Yo,
dope.
Gargoyles was my shit, but I don't
Gargoyles
think
was
I don't
my
think they did
shit.
Gargoyles, but Gargoyles is worthy of us covering at some point. But last thing that I'm gonna say they did the animation for Todd McFarlane's Spawn, the animated joint.
Nice.
So like they've done a lot of really cool shit. And I agree with you, Dan. I think it was the perfect choice. And I do think, like, not that the characters look super realistic, but even watching this now, some 22 years after it came out, it still to me looks good. Even, I was watching this with a hypothetical individual known as Bonner, and even Bonner had to note that it looked really good,
Yeah.
So, Nico, what do you have to say about the visuals at all?
So one thing that I want to say that is always striking to me about, in particular, cartoons from this era and sort of in this style is you can really tell and appreciate the direction that they took in regard to the animation, because so much of the shots that we see are, the big picture scenes are pretty much just paintings, and then the characters and stuff are just animated over that. And it's interesting just from a purely artistic perspective, just sort of examining the composition of those and looking at how the scenes come together. However, I will say, while I do and have that same nostalgia as you two, I think that I was able to divorce myself from that a little bit. And I must say there are times where the line art isn't the best, but the movie makes up for it more than enough in spades, and just has with so much charm.
Okay. And I got a quick question for you guys. Since this was handled by a Japanese animation studio,
Is this anime?
Come on. Come on.
Yeah?
I mean, I guess.
Is it?
Well, I don't think
I
so.
don't know.
No, I don't think so. Because it's not done in a Japanese animation style, though.
Actually, yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
true. It's kind of just outsourced.
All right. Well, I guess that confirms that Avatar: The Last Airbender is not an anime. Case closed.
Unless we find out that all the other 90s cartoons were also done by Japanese animation studios, in which case
shit.
all of the 90s cartoons would be anime, I guess.
Well, Street Sharks might be an anime, but
Ren and Stimpy's my favorite.
so audio, Jesus, man, audio.
That soundtrack.
I mean, this soundtrack. First off, we have the classic "It's Terror Time Again." Come on, you guys love that song, right? By Sky Cycle.
Yeah, it's a real
And-
household name here.
I mean, okay.
Great song, though.
I believe they also did "The Ghost Is a Fake." However, we got Third Eye Blind, who I know you both know.
Yeah.
And they sang the kind of Scooby Doo theme song at the start. So, and that was cool. So I enjoyed the score. I also, I like the audio. I didn't see any real issues with it. Dan, how about you?
No, I liked it all over. It was pretty good.
And Nico, any thoughts?
This is going to be the shortest section for audio we've ever done. It was fine. I had no thoughts other than oh, these songs are nice and this sounds wacky. It's nostalgic. It's good.
All right. So let's go ahead now. And I was talking about rewinding the clock. Let's stick with that trend. And so I can tell you the first time when I saw this movie, I remember the night. I remember my older cousin, she came through. I was still I wasn't a little young kid by that point. Was I even 10?
You could
Not
say
sure.
perhaps maybe 7 years old.
Perhaps give or take, right?
Yeah,
Give or take.
But I mean, It was one of those scenarios where, she actually, believe it or not, we got some candy and we had to find one real quick.
Wait, you got candy, bro?
I believe it, I think.
I don't know, man.
But we got some candy from the closest place to my house, which at that point in time was a Blockbuster. We grabbed some candy from there. And this movie wasn't released in theaters. I don't believe it was like a straight to video type joint. So my cousin rented it from Blockbuster for me. So we actually, I remember when she rented it and we went back to my house with the candy and the movie, and I was super excited. And we watched it. Yeah, it was fucking awesome. So I know you guys may not have the same exact story, because how could my cousin have watched it with you? But back then,
I mean, believe it or not,
was this scary? Like, as a kid, did you find the zombie part scary? How did you deal with the fact that, it's real monsters in this? It's not a guy in a mask anymore. So, Nico, start with you.
I think for me, I always got swept up in the sort of investigative side of Scooby Doo stories in general. Like, I was always, whenever they would find new clues, I would be like, okay, and how does this connect to that? And what's the story that's being told right now and all that? I was, as a kid, I was part of the mystery machine gang. Like, that's where my head was at. So whenever I would watch Scooby Doo, they are horror related. They're spooky. They're scary. But I don't know if I could say whether or not I actually thought it was a scary movie.
So, Dan, go ahead and take me back to the 90s, like Logic. How do you think?
I don't really remember exactly how I felt when I watched it, but watching it now, trying to put myself back in that position, I feel like there are a couple parts that were kind of scary. Like, you see the first zombie when Captain Morgan, Moonscar, comes out. I feel like that was kind of creepy, and especially near the end when the bad guys die, actually die, for real die. Yeah, that was kind of scary.
They don't go to jail.
Dust. No.
So I will say, little Justin was a chicken shit. So I was scared of everything. This movie definitely scared me when I was a little kid, particularly when, and this is going to sound extremely wild, but growing up, I never really listened or heard any rock music. I think Terror Time, at the time that I had listened to it, was the heaviest song I'd ever heard in my life.
You're shitting me. What?
I mean, I don't expect fucking give or take 7-year-old Justin to be listening to fucking Dimmu Borgir or anything.
No, that's fair. My name's Justin. I just learned about the color red. Slayer.
But I don't know. I mean, the song, it was just so different from anything I'd ever heard before in my life. Again, you got to understand, where I'm coming from, my culture, I'd never heard anything like that. And then zombies start popping up all over the fucking place.
Is this what rock and roll does?
Pretty much. And then I just remember especially there's a part where, the scenes Dan was talking about, some real shit happens. And I was like, oh, damn. And like I said, I was scared of everything, dude. When I saw The Mummy for the first time,
that was pretty scary though. I was scared of that shit too.
I was scared as shit when I was a kid and I seen The Mummy. And I was like, damn. I remember watching it as well with my little sister. She was there too, I guess. Although at that point in time, she was kind of I don't want to say the word afterthought, but she was.
Wow.
Damn.
I mean, my sister's younger than me. So, I mean, I don't know. She was there, I guess, for it. Yeah. I mean, I didn't really think she was that scared, but I certainly was. Now, I guess I got to kind of change up gears here a little bit. First off, there are zombies in this movie, but is this a zombie movie? Kind of in the same way you can have chocolate chunks in your ice cream, but is it chocolate ice cream?
Ooh.
Dan, why don't you go ahead and churn out some answers?
Ooh.
All right, so go ahead.
Yeah, churn one out for us, Dan.
I don't really think it's a zombie movie. I think this falls more into a mystery movie that has zombies in it, chocolate chunks in it. Trying to analyze Scooby Doo as under horror themes doesn't necessarily work, but I don't think it's really kind of falls into that zombie kind of category, I guess.
Okay. And Nico, I guess I'm going to ask you the same question. Me personally, I agree with Dan. I don't think this is a zombie movie. I kind of class it more under just general supernatural stuff. I
Mhm.
think for me, the cat creatures were certainly, I think for me, what I paid more attention to, especially, now. Nico, so thoughts? Is this a zombie movie to you?
No, it's not really a zombie movie. It is much like how all rectangles are rhombuses, but not all parallelograms are triangles. This is just a movie with zombies as opposed to being a zombie movie.
Well, now I have no clue what your opinion is.
No, it's not a zombie movie. It's just it is adorned. It is, punctuated with zombies, but it is in its core, it's really a mystery movie with freaky cat people.
I guess, talking about some of that stuff, this movie is noticeably darker, I think, than other kind of Scooby Doo things. Now, part of that,
Fred fucking decapitates a zombie.
yeah,
Just fucking straight up. Like, oh, I can't pull his mask off. Let me just tug on his face.
Pull his
this
whole head
isn't
off.
working.
yeah, that scene was wickedness. But I'm talking about, so this movie, first off, just to kind of, for the people who don't know, this movie came about because of the success of basically now our generation, me, Nico, and Dan's generation. We grew up and basically Cartoon Network at that point in time was nowhere near what it was today. They had to fill a ton of time. So they put a fuck ton of Scooby Doo on Cartoon Network.
And I watched
And
all
our
of it.
generation just
Hell yeah.
watched it. Like
We ate that
watched,
shit up.
yeah. Like, and I'm talking about like the OG Scooby Doo, like the one that made it super popular. So
The one that came about in...
geez,
when
was it the
was
80s or 70s?
No, dude, it was...
I think it was earlier than that.
Shut the fuck up. It wasn't 69.
Yeah, it fucking was.
I knew as soon as Nico laughed. Jesus Christ, dude. So anyways, in 1969, I guess was when Scooby Doo
Nice.
came out. I don't know why it's so funny to you. So, and because of that, they came out with this movie for us. And I think by the time this movie came out, there were some people, because we're kind of towards the back half of the 90s kids, you know what I mean? There were kids who were maybe a couple years older than us who also would have been, this movie would have been for. So I think part of it, and this is just, my thinking, they probably made it a little bit scarier to help appeal to those kids as well,
That makes
So a
sense.
Scooby-Doo that you could watch a little bit older and still be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I mean, this movie, like I said, people actually die. Not like, oh, you're going to jail. Like, they actually die. And that's kind of crazy. And like, not only do they die, but I probably didn't think about this as a kid, but like the implication of all these zombies and like the fact that these werecats murdered people and drained their life force and like literally murder hundreds of people over the course of a
right?
couple centuries is kind of creepy and definitely a lot darker. So I didn't think about appealing to the older 90s kids and stuff. I didn't really think about that, but it totally makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, like Nico, right? People die when they are killed.
People do die when they are killed, yes.
We learned that from an unnamed visual novel, but how did you feel about the darkness in this movie?
I liked it. I liked that it was sort of, it was a more sobering atmosphere for the mystery gang. And just, again, the fact that we got to see Fred just fucking pull someone's fucking head off will always amuse me. But I think it definitely upped the stakes, at least for the audience. Because one of the things about Scooby-Doo is that it is noticeably goofy. And even though, towards the end, there is this cultist ritual where 4 of the main characters are tied up and they're about to have their blood drained. Like, that sounds like it could be something out of Possession Movie X, but it's Scooby-Doo. So we have the wacky hijinks ensuing, and it all adds up in the end. But I do like that they made it darker just because I think it gives the characters something a little bit more interesting to work with than the usual fare.
Well said. Well said.
Thank you.
But I've got someone else who will have said something. Dan, I think you've got a little theory around this corner. I think you've got a little hypothesis. Why don't you lay it on us?
I do. And for this, I have to give a little bit of background context. So
Lay it on us.
one cool thing about this movie is I do think it's actually well written too. And there's like different hints about who the bad guys are throughout the film. So like when Fred is trying to yank off the dude's head,
Oh my God, Fred and his head. Keep going.
I think it was then, or maybe it was a different zombie that they capture. The zombie actually tells them, like, names some of the bad guys. But like at the time, you don't understand why he's saying that, or you don't really catch it or anything. And there's a couple, yeah. And like the first writing on the wall that we see, like the ghost writing on the wall, it says like, "Get out, beware," which, you know, you think it's malevolent, but really they're trying to warn them, hey, get out.
Get out.
Keeping that in mind, this was the first movie or the first Scooby Doo thing where Scooby Doo was ever aggressive towards any other animal.
You think so?
Yes, according to things that I've read about this movie.
Ho, ho, ho.
So,
Did you get that from space?
not space, not this time. So, one thing we didn't really mention on this plantation, there's a bunch of cats. Which kind of makes sense because they worship cat people. Scooby, like right from the get-go, the first time he sees the cats, he's like super aggressive towards them. And there's a lot of like chase scenes between the cats and, you know, Tom and Jerry-esque kind of scenes. So I was thinking like, you know, at first you think that's like, oh, well, that's, you know, normal cat-dog kind of relationship. But a lot of times we always think about animals, especially dogs, as being, you know, super sensitive to the supernatural and evil and stuff like that. So I'm kind of wondering if Scooby, deep down inside, you know, subconsciously knew that the cats were the bad guys. Because even though the cats aren't the ones that actually do evil things, you know, it's the weird cats and the, you know, cat gods and everything. And then at the end of the movie, there's actually a post-credit scene in this film.
Post-credits.
And Scooby is sitting there and he's sitting next to two cats and he pours them out milk and they're friends. So I'm thinking, well, maybe Scooby knew that they were the bad guys somehow. And then at the end, when the bad guys are defeated and they're back to being normal, or not normal cats, because I mean, those cats were always normal cats, but the were-cats are not bad guys, like these normal cats he's friends with again. So that's kind of my theory that there was some sort of thought or something behind that antagonistic nature towards cats.
I'm going to parse through your theory here in just a second. But I personally love the fact that Scooby doesn't know that he's a dog.
Yeah. Dog?
Because they say multiple times in the movie.
I hated that shit. I'm sorry.
I can't stand the dog. He's like, Rog?
Rog? Oh my God.
What do you think, Nico, about Dan's theory? Does it hold water?
I think it's a perfectly valid reading. I think you're reading a little bit too much into it, but I think it is a perfectly valid reading that you could make that argument.
Okay. I mean, Dan, I'm going to say it. I think potentially, yes. I see all your rationale and reasoning. And then at the very end and my thought immediately was, well, with, you know, all the people on the island dead, these cats are going to die too because there's going to be no one to feed them. And they got like alligators and shit. So these cats are donezo. You're right. But, you know, the cats hop back on, you know, the last ferry off the island type deal. So they're all going to be okay. It's interesting, you know? I do think it's interesting your point about, because, you know, it's another thing. Cats are typically, and I say this again, a movie about cats being evil would not be a thing in a large portion of the world. Because cats, like we said before, at least historically in a lot of different cultures, you know, and definitely for sure in like Middle Eastern and Islamic cultures, like cats are good. They're typically seen as creatures of good. So it's always interesting to me to see the cats in this one, that they were around an evil person that would lend me to believe the cats themselves are bad, because cats are supposed to be able to spot out evil. You know what I mean?
It's true.
They got the eyes, the cat's eyes.
They do have their own eyes. Very astute observation, my man.
So I got more observations. This movie, while falling short perhaps of real romance, there were some moments, maybe a little bit of tension of the romantic nature between some members of the, you know, of the mystery gang and some members of some other people, if you follow what I'm saying. Thanks, Nico, for that one. So first off, Fred and Lena. Fred was really going to town on Lena's food.
Wow.
He was, and he said he liked the taste.
He did say he liked the food.
And Daphne was jealous as hell.
Ate his dinner.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. Like in Southern culture, isn't that like a thing? Or maybe not like a thing,
I'm not from
but
the
like,
South. How the fuck I'm about to tell you?
I don't know. Maybe you heard about it. But I feel like, or maybe
Southern
maybe not
hospitality?
just in the South, but like I feel like in some cultures, like if you like a woman's food, like you're
Oh, that
you know,
yeah, absolutely, for sure.
So like when he said like all I said was I like her food,
Nah, it's too much, bro.
feel like there's more meaning behind that,
There
even if he didn't
absolutely
mean
is.
it, you know.
The way he was like, Nico, tell me more.
Okay. I guess I'm just the source on the scene now. Reports are coming in that Fred definitely did eat that. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I mean, Fred even considered putting on the power ascot. There's a scene where he's
The
about to
power-
like dress up for dinner.
The
And he's about
power
to put it on.
ascot.
Power
Yeah, bro.
ascot?
It's equivalent to like
Is he
the
putting that
Thanos
ascot
glove.
to his mouth to,
Well,
so he can put it on?
Well, I bet you that little handkerchief reminds him of all the ass he's got in
Whoa.
the past.
Oh, true.
So I mean, I don't know, man. I also like the way Shaggy to dress up for dinner just put on the same fucking shit.
Green
Same
shirt.
Yeah.
But no, so there was definitely that little tension there between Fred and Lena. We also have, Daphne and Fred, the Classico combination here. I mean, Fred obviously stuck with her after the gang split up because, he always does, right? And then last but not least, we've got the IMO true couple here. Velma and Bo. At the very end,
I like that, yeah.
Velma's like, I've always loved a good detective. Book hits him with the eyes. I'm like, yo, come on, Bo. And Bo's like, I've always wanted to meet someone who owned a mystery store. And I'm like, yeah, okay, Bo, I bet. So, and I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's the OTP for me, bro.
I like it as mystery store, not mystery bookstore.
Just
But
mystery
store. Like,
You don't know
hey,
what it is.
What the fuck you sell? I don't know. You got me.
Yo, I don't even know. Listen, about the whole topic about eating a woman's food. So the fact that Lena has already been shown, she, in my culture, they would have said she does wakobia, but it would have said she in America, she does voodoo. I'm not eating anyone's food that does that shit. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, certainly.
I'm a starve. I'm gonna go out in the bayou and catch a fish. See, also, and this is the next thing, and I realize this is gonna sound mad wild, but I don't eat people food, yo. I'd rather starve.
You would. Oh.
Like,
See,
I
I
don't
would
eat-
fall prey for
Yeah,
sure.
you would.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
go to nobody's house
You cooked up some
And-
gumbo?
and just-
Yeah, I'm eating that shit.
and just eat their food. I'm
Hell
not
yeah.
eating nobody's food. Are you kidding me? Even if I have a neighbor, hey neighbor, we just, cooked this barbecue and hey, do you want some? No, sorry, can't do it. You just saw me cook it right
Bro,
there. You
have
watched me
you
cook
never
it.
been to like a community cookout or something?
No.
You're missing out, dude.
I mean, I'll go, but I won't eat the food.
Bruh.
You can catch me with a Capri Sun, bro. Like,
That was the
that's
shit.
Catch you with a Capri Sad, more like.
I am a Capri Sad boy. You're right about that. But at the same time, I'm not eating anyone else's food. Yeah, there's a big kind of like
Are you a
superstition.
cat? Are you actually a cat?
He is cat.
Meow. But no, so I gotta ask you guys this question. The romance, though, we kind of got away from the point. I blame Dan naturally, but
Yeah.
do you think that was put in there intentionally? Because as almost like a preteen audience, a little bit of like, oh, because there was definitely some vibes between at least Fred and Lena. You know this, and Velma and Bo.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they wrote it, so I think it was intentional.
It was written like Nas, bro. All right, so now time for the what would you do? I've been waiting for this. All right, bro. So here's the deal. The three of us are not about to be looking for no
Nope.
fucking ghosts.
Nope.
So
Nope.
I thought about this.
We would just not be in Scooby Doo at all, period.
Yeah.
So I thought about this. So Nico foolishly accepts an invitation to go down to this pepper growing place, basically.
I do love spicy food.
And test out the pepper. So Nico invites me because I am also
Connoisseur.
connoisseur of the chile. And why did I say chile? I'm not going to the country. I'm eating chilies. And then, we bring Dan along for the ride because he's the homie. So we all go down there. And then first off, so we go to the market, we meet up with Lena and she's like, oh, hey, y'all. Dan drools immediately. But then she goes, let's just hop on the ferry to Moonscar Island.
Nah. I'm gonna get some beignets and dip the fuck out of here.
So let's say maybe Dan was enthralled enough to drag us with him to Moonscar Island.
I like
We
this
get
not
there.
me this time. It's
We
nice.
get there and we see the writing on the wall, literally. Get out.
Don't gotta tell me twice.
What if Lena's like, actually, Dan, could you please stay the night? You're such a strong man. And so Dan was like, all right, guys, we got to stay the night, one night. I'm like, all right,
no. See, here's where you're wrong. See, this is where I dap my man Dan up and get the fuck out.
All right, you are not a friend, bro. So let's say you go to leave and then you run into some zombies. So you run back. See, I thought of this. And like the ferryman and whatnot is not there yet. So how would we hold out with the zombies?
Yo, Scooby had the right idea at one point. He took a pepper and like squirted it in a zombie eye or somebody's eyes.
Yeah. It was the cat creature's eye.
Yeah, the cat creature. Yeah, that's what I would do. I would just make like pepper juice and just like put it in like a bucket and just like throw it on people.
Although there was one scene that literally, I shit you not, Nico and I will probably reproduce at some point in the future, where Scooby and Shaggy were sitting there.
Wait, you and Nico are gonna reproduce sometime in the future?
I said there would be a scene that we would.
Pause.
Oh, we're gonna make a scene.
Pause.
Oh my God. Can't pause creation, Dan. And we would recreate this scene where, you know, Scooby and Shaggy are like dueling with hot peppers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Hot Ones before Hot Ones.
Yeah, real talk.
Yeah, real talk. So, all right, but let's say for real though, like the cat creatures don't have voodoo dolls of us because we're all pretty cautious about that. So they reveal themselves to be cat creatures. How would you fight them off?
I would throw a little mouse toy and distract them.
All right.
So I'm dead.
I guess, you know, after they literally told us that they have to consume the power like of a life force before the sundial runs out.
Please don't go where I think you're about to go.
Well, I mean, I would trick them out. Like,
okay.
I would cover up the dial so they wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah, why couldn't you just knock that shit over?
Yeah, like while they're busy doing all this nonsense, like I would knock that over and dipset out. And I would just run around the island. I think I would probably realize a little bit faster than most that the zombies aren't actually hurting me. Not because I'm that good, but because I'd probably trip and fall. And then the zombies would like help me back up. And I'd be like, oh, what's going on here? And just like, you know, kind of come to a realization if you please. True. Although I'm gonna be honest again, like listeners, Dan, Nico, and I are just, hey y'all, I work on Moonscar Island. All right, bet. We're gonna stay the night here in New Orleans, have some fun, maybe stay a couple days and then we're out.
Yeah.
Like, we're not doing this Moonscar Island bullshit. You can bring those peppers to us. So yeah. Now let's talk about our favorite scenes. So I'm gonna start with you, Nico, because I know you are a man about scenes.
You just know how to, you know, just the thing to say, Justin. Just the thing to say. No.
I do. That's called scene selection.
Oh my God. Speaking of that, I think my favorite scene is honestly just the ending. It felt good to see them all get out of there safe. It was, even though like I knew nothing bad was ever going to happen in a Scooby Doo movie, like we're not going to see any fucking like, oh, you know, Shaggy got fucking shot. Like, there's this still sort of comforting sense of like, I'm glad they all got home safe. It's like seeing, you know, old friends you haven't seen in a long time and then you get to see them off. It's nice.
All right. Dan, what was your favorite scene in this movie?
I don't have a particular scene, so I'm going to kind of cheese this one, but there was...
Cheese it.
Sort of like before it's revealed that the zombies are like actual zombies and not just like people in a mask. For a while, I was kind of like, anytime something like kind of spooky happened, I was trying to figure out like, okay, how is this going to be just a person in a mask? Or how is this going to be something that people created and not zombies, you know? Mm-hmm. And I thought that was fun. I mean, like, especially this time, I knew that it was going to be zombies because I've seen the movie, you know, when I was a kid. But just trying to think about it from that perspective, I was like, how are they going to try to portray this as just regular people? Oh, there's a projector here with these effects or you know, stuff like that. And it was just cool. And I was trying to put myself in the perspective of seeing it for the first time, coming into it as like a normal Scooby Doo thing where it's all going to be just somebody in a mask. And I thought that was kind of cool for me to try to figure all that out. And I know that's kind of a weird, oddball answer, but yeah, that was fun for me.
All right. I mean, for me personally, I think my favorite scene in the movie was when Scooby, he grabs that pepper and he busts that pepper pot in the ferryman's face. It wasn't Simone. It was the ferryman. I forget his name. Apparently, he was just some dude who came through to the island and was like, yo, for real, I'm trying to be immortal.
Yeah.
And they let it happen.
I mean, hey.
Yo, I can tell you straight up, if you've ever been in a house, and this is for this is for all my people, you know, who like come from.
Shout out to all my people who've been in houses. You
No,
the
no, no.
realest.
I mean, from all my people, you know, who come from like cultures where I'm talking like, you know, what culture you're coming from too, where pepper is like a daily thing, hot peppers, ridiculously hot peppers. You know, you wake up on like a Saturday or Sunday morning and you got like an uncle, father, mother, sister, brother, cousin, whoever, blending up peppers. When you blend up those hot peppers and then that pepper sauce is just in the fucking air in your house and you breathing that shit in and coughing all over the goddamn place, shit kind of sucks. So I'm gonna say this. That scene where Scooby, you know, again, let loose that pepper in that dude's eye, I felt that. I really did feel that. All right. And then the next thing as well that I'm gonna say just for the pod, I thought it was a pretty cool scene, you know, where Daphne, you know, they have the scene where the writing appears on the wall and then they videotaped it and they go back to the tape and replay it and you see the ghost in the tape. I mean, that was something that
Can we just enhance this? Trope. Oh yeah, let me just put it in 4K real quick.
Fred hit her with the view and enhance.
With the fucking FBI type shit.
I know. And then you see the ghost. And I thought that was pretty cool. I really did think that was pretty cool. But, you know, who else thought this movie was pretty cool? We're going to take a turn over here to Rotten Critics. Wow, Rotten Critics? They are fucking rotten, but it's Rotten Tomatoes. So, wow, would you believe it? This movie has an 86% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes and a 78% from the audience. Bunch of 90s kids up in that bitch. So let's go ahead and ask you guys. Nico, what would you rank this movie?
I would actually rate it at just a clean 80. It's fun.
Wow.
It's everything that my childhood was, and I love it for that. But I am still coming at this from, you know, as much as I tried to divorce myself from nostalgia, to some degree I was successful, to some degree I wasn't. You know, it's not fantastic, but it's a lot of fun.
All right. Dan?
I think it's fantastic. I agree with the critics. I put it at 86. Huge part of it, of course, is nostalgia. But when I kind of separate myself from that, I just think it's a pretty solid movie all around. Like I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it as well. I think it's an 85 for me. I think one thing that I thought about as well is because my cousin, she's, you know, I'm sorry. How much older than me is she? 4 years? 4 or 5 years maybe?
Give or take.
Give or take. And, you know, looking back, like why was she willing to watch what was essentially a kid's movie? It's because it's still fun to watch. It's not boring. You know, there's
Definitely
some shows that as an adult, you know, or even as like a parent, you know, watching it with a kid, man, am I really supposed to watch this? Like, this is kind of dread, right? It's kind of boring. Translator's note, in Trini slang, dread means boring. It doesn't mean dread like evil presence or something like that. But yeah, so it's not dread. It's like, it's cool, you know? And I think it's something that, you know, like if I ever have a kid in the future, I'd be down to watch Scooby Doo on Zombie Island with him.
Hell yeah. It's a requirement.
So it's a requirement. They're starting off on Super Nintendo too. I'm gonna lie. I'm gonna be like, this is the latest video game system. So, yeah. So now let's go ahead and it's time to make that judgment call, yo. Would you recommend this to a friend?
Yes.
I say yes, wholeheartedly.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now, does this get the golden seal of approval? I say yes.
I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say no. I'm sorry.
Hey, fuck you, Nico. I'll be coming to your house. So,
Do it,
audience, you all hear what the plan is. We're about to go fuck Nico shit up because he didn't give Scooby Doo on Zombie Island the golden seal of approval. But no, on the real, understandable, Nico. Okay, I respect your decision. No, I don't. I still don't.
And that's fine.
So, yeah, I mean, if you like what you've heard, please go ahead and, you know, give us a follow. We're on Twitter and Instagram at DOTD Horror. We're also on Facebook. Don't open that door. And that's been it from Nico, Dan, and Jus. You know, we hope everybody keeps themselves safe, especially as the days grow darker, the nights grow colder. We hope your hearts grow warmer. Have a great night, everyone. And please, ladies and gents, please don't open that door. Bye.